again from the United Soccer Coaches Convention here in Anaheim, California. No, I did not say Pennsylvania this time, or I did not think to say Pennsylvania this time, but it's been a fantastic convention, just guest after guest after guest, doing your guys' show, Kyle and Jillian, doing a couple episodes for my show, and getting great guests like our guest one here today, Mr. Rick Eddy from the United Soccer Federation, referee. And you have so much experience to, offer. And we were talking a little bit, referees, it's a pretty toxic culture when you look at the fans, the abuse that they give the referees, and sometimes the players too, which is, not what you like to see. And we don't have to talk about the whole issue with a certain player in Cincinnati this past playoffs. And it's a little bit scary of a situation. But Rick, anytime I have a new guest come onto the podcast, I always start off with, how'd you get involved with soccer? So Rick, how'd you get involved?
Yeah, so I started off as a high school cross-country runner. And then I said, individual stuff is great, but I want to play a team sport. So I gravitated to soccer and played my last 2 years of high school, went to college, played through college, and I said, boy, I'd really like to play in the NASL because that was the league at the time. Yes. And I'm like, wow, this would be exciting. And the year before I graduated, the league folded. So there was no professional soccer in the United States. So I'm like, now what do I do? So I played amateur ball. And back in the 80s, amateur ball was really robust, not like it is today, where there's only a few different pockets in the United States where there's really good amateur ball. And one of the people was when I was playing, one of the referees on the game was someone I met in college, and our team was just abusing him. He's acting as an assistant referee. His calls were all right, but our team just abused him. And I said, I'm really competitive. I think I can do this. I want to try it. So I took a referee course. The instructor made it sound really good. Oh, you come out and referee some games in the park on Sunday and everyone has a great time. And I'm like, yeah, this sounds great. Sign me up. I did my first game and it was like people were screaming at me. They were impeding onto the field. They were running around spectators. And I'm like, why would I want to do this? But it just kind of stuck and I got pretty competent at it. So I said, I want to keep trying this and take it as far as I can.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you're the director referees for the federation in America. I mean, so what exactly does that job title entail? Is that, you getting a whole bunch of referees and just monitoring how they do, giving them advice because you've refed a ton of games in your career, like you said, and we can talk about some of those games if you want here, but what exactly do you do with the Federation?
That's a good question. So basically our main focus is education of referees. We provide the courses for first-time referees. We provide the recertification courses for referees. We have 4 different levels of referees, so if you advance, you take another course. And then we also have we have an assigner course, so we license assigners. And we also, 2 years ago, moved into the referee coach sphere, which was the old instructor and assessor. So we just kind of pushed it together and made it one because I believe that referees need to be mentored in their first 10 games on the field. If they don't have anyone acting as a cheerleader, giving them some guidance, they're going to get abused by a coach or the spectators, and they're going to say, I'm out, not fun, and they'll walk away. And we want to be able to keep more referees. The longer we can keep people in, we hope the longer they'll stay, and so the numbers that decrease doesn't look so bad.
And one quick question. So we're both coaches. We see a lot of officials. And the more and more I read, the harder I hear about, and this is not just in soccer, this is all sports,
yep,
refs getting out of the business. They don't want to do it anymore. What is the Federation doing specifically for young refs? Like, I want to become a ref. How are we incentivizing? It sounds like the mentor program is one of those ways, but to not only grow, educate, but to maintain those, so we can build that foundation of solid officiating in this country.
So we've started a pilot course for referees, a digital course where it's completely online, and the states that are using that course, it's for their small-sided recreational games. So young referees get a taste of the game. If it's something they just want to continue doing the recreational games, great. But if some say, hey, this is fun, but I want to do something a little more competitive, then they can jump to the full course, and they can become the 11v11 youth referees. So we're doing that. We're also trying to reduce some of the barriers, because you sign up for a course, you pay a fee, great, now you have a license. Now I've got to go buy equipment, and that costs money. And one of the other problems is the signers are a little leery to use new referees in games because they don't know enough about them. So they're a little cautious on that. And sometimes referees, I have put this money in, I've got 6 games this year, I'm out. So we've got to educate the signers that they are actually part of the development process, because putting the right referee on the right game will build their confidence and give them the opportunity to advance to higher levels.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look in all sports, whether it be baseball, whether it be football, basketball, referees are down. And that's a scary thought. If you have no referees in those sports, the sport can't get played. And it's like, as fans of any sport, it's like, you hear the saying, well, without fans, there is no football and there is no baseball. Well, without no referees, there really is no sport. I mean, how concerning is that to you, where you look at the rec level, just people don't want to do this?
It's very concerning, because as we came out of the pandemic, all of a sudden we've had a lot of leagues come up in the youth landscape, and now more leagues, more players. The referees shrunk during the pandemic, and they're coming back slowly, not enough to keep up with pace. So we've, at the national level, we've actually taken the standards and reduced them a little bit. Like, we have a game count. We almost cut that almost in half, because we need more referees to work these low-level professional games that are going to get covered by referees that may not be up to that level, and then that's no fun for the players. It's no fun for the coaches, especially in a competitive environment. And with competitive youth soccer, it's the same way. It's no different. So we're trying to get more referees. We're trying to hedge off some of the abuse and assault problems that we're having, because if we can stop that, I believe the numbers will grow, because more people will stick around. We don't do a really good job of disciplining the troublemakers at times, and that, and every mom has a cell phone, and dad has a cell phone, so they're taking pictures of this, and now it seems to become a phenomenon on social media. Hey, look at this referee get chased off the field, or look at this referee get hit by a parent. And that's why would a parent, their kid wants the referee, why would they put him into this environment?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like that's going to make them want to run further and further away from it. It's like, I'm not putting myself in danger. Like, that's the last thing you should think about, is like, I'm going to go to a soccer game, a football game, whatever, and my life could be in danger. Nobody wants that. And it's like, referees on the professional level, I mean, they're here and they're chirping from the players, but it's very rarely, I feel like, or at least it doesn't get covered in the media, where, referees get attacked by players. But I mean, at the youth levels, I mean, it's bad. You guys see it as coaches, I'm sure, in swimming, where the parents are just berating coaches, berating officials, like, oh, I know better than you. And it's like, do you really? Like, why don't you come and volunteer your time and be a referee? But no, nobody wants to do that. And it's like, I mean, it's scary to think about that. Yeah, I shouldn't be thinking about, am I going to get attacked? Am I not? It's like, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, absolutely. We see it in swimming all the time. And, getting some officials is hard some of the times. But I think what it comes down to a lot is education, too. We educate our athletes in being respectful, and we have parent meetings and everything, and we're always encouraging them, hey, if you want to become an official, here's all the great reasons why to do this. And just, we see it as a partnership. We need the parents, we need the athletes, we need the coaches, the fans, everyone on board, because at the end of the day, we're here for the enjoyment of the sport.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I think that's why we're all here. It's like, the referees don't really get looked at. It's like, yeah, let's just talk about the players. Let's look at the coaches, whatever. Like, let's just look at, the guys that are making the plays on the field. But, like, the referees are there to help grow the game as well. To, I'm sure, Rick, want to see soccer just continue to grow, get bigger. That's why you're with a federation. And it doesn't get better working than the United States federation. It's like you want to see this game grow, and what better time than 2 years? We have the World Cup here, and so I'm sure that's part of the reason you're here. You want to see soccer in this country grow bigger and bigger, and that starts too with the referees.
Yeah, and I think we have to have a cultural shift and stop treating referees as operational pieces. Oh, we need a corner flag. Let's get a corner flag. Oh, we're at this big tournament. We need some outhouses. Oh crap, we don't have any referees. We better get some referees here. And if they do a bad job, we'll call someone and hopefully someone else will come. Those days they're over. People are getting tired of this, and if they're not going to be protected, they're not going to referee.
Nope, and then your sport goes away. So it's like I said, I mean, everybody says, oh, well, without the fans, there's nothing. Well, without the referees, then there's nothing. And you see what happened a couple years ago when the NFL brings in replacement referees, just how bad some of those cars. And it goes back to what you were saying where, they weren't really up for those levels. And it's like, it hurts. It hurts everybody. It hurts the players. It hurts the coaches. It hurts the fans. It's like you're not getting the product that you deserve to be getting. But, it all starts with, the referees getting respect, and they do not get in the game. Kyle?
Yeah, Rick, what's the future, goal for the federation, with refs? What's the future look like in your eyes, the perfect future?
Perfect future, there's enough referees where referees only have to work one game a day. Right now, referees are working multiple games in a day. Some because they use it as a source of revenue. Others because they don't want kids not to play a game and have some recreation. So they'll do 3, 4, 5 games on a Saturday. And then they'll go to bed at night and come back the next day and do 4, and they're exhausted. Right. And that, eventually the mental part of the game catches up with you, and you're like, all right, where do I break this off? Do I not referee, or do I do less refereeing? It's
the burnout factor, as you say, and there is that. So is that something where it's like, you brought up about the source of income. So some of these officials are doing multiple because, that's how they make their income. So would that look like, okay, you're going to do one game, but we're going to make sure that it's incentivized financially that you would be able to do it in a perfect world, obviously.
In a perfect world, of course. And you're putting, if you go do a 90-minute game, figure it's an hour to get to the field or less. You want to be there 35, 40 minutes before to check everything in. You want to facilitate the game, and then you're going to go home, and then you're going to write a report and turn that in, and that's 4 hours out of your day already. And you're doing this as a part-time advocational event, and sometimes it's, wow, this is really worth it. So we have to incentivize a little more. Let's be honest. At the youth level, there are some professional coaches, and referees see that. So they're like, well, I'm putting in time. How come I'm not getting this? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a valid question. Good question by you. Great answer by you, Rick. I want to go back, though. I mean, like I said, this is a Philadelphia Union podcast, and you have experience working in MLS. I mean, you're part of the 2022, definitely not. The 2002 MLS Cup Final in Foxborough between the Revs and Los Angeles Galaxy. What exactly do you remember from that game?
I remember a couple things. The day before, we went up to the stadium because we had the meeting with the media, and they were going to explain everything. And at the stadium, you could see they had the ticket lines were open, and there was like 10 lines, and the lines had at least 50 people in them. So I asked Dr. Joe Macknick, what do you think the attendance is going to be for this game? He goes, we've sold about 35,000 tickets. I said, that'll be a nice crowd here. Well, we get to the stadium, and there is more cars and people than I've ever seen at a Revs game or even a national team game. And we go out on the stadium, and it's like, this place is packed. There were 60,000 fans there, and I'm like, this is huge. It was my first time in a NFL stadium that was sold out for soccer.
Yeah, and that's huge in this country where soccer is an afterthought. I mean, it goes, I would say, NFL, NBA, baseball, maybe hockey and soccer are fighting it out. But I do think with the World Cup coming here, we're going to see soccer grow higher and higher and higher in this country. But that's a ton of people for a soccer game. But MLS, and let's not forget, MLS, I mean, was a young league back then, and it still is. a young league when you compare it to leagues in Europe and Spain, and to get that many people to say, yep, I'm going to go out to this game between the Galaxy, the Revs. I mean, that's a huge deal. And it's like, you have nothing to compare it to as a referee, I'm sure, too. It's like, all right, this is a little bit mind-blowing, but it's like, we got to make sure that we're prepared. We're not, buying into the calls that the fans want us to give. Do the referees ever feel swayed in that sense, though, would you say?
I think in society there's always a personal bias, and at the professional level, you see those same teams and players from over and over again. So you do build relationships, and sometimes you can talk to players really well. Other times they don't want to listen to you. So, if you at the professional level, if you can't build relationships with players and coaches, it's hard to succeed.
Absolutely. So one thing I do want to, so let's say somebody's listening to this podcast right now and they want to be a referee. So let's see they're doing it at the rec level, and now they're coaching some high school, and then maybe they get some college games. They say, okay, I'm still enjoying this. I want to get to the next level, whether that be NWSL, MLS. They want to be at the professional level. Mm-hmm. Well, what do the requirements look like to get there?
Yeah, so you start as a referee, first-time referee, and then you move up to the regional level, which is predominantly amateur games and also national amateurs such as NPSL, UPSL, USL2, and then you can progress to after 2 years minimum and a certain amount of games, you can apply to upgrade to national. And then we have a selection committee of 10 people that actually selected. I have nothing to do with it. I don't want that bias. We have a committee that takes care of it, and they actually select the people that we invite to the national camp. And then they have to come and sit through the technical sessions and pass the fitness test.
Yeah, what's that look like? I mean, people I don't think realize how many times the referees, whether you're an assistant referee on the sideline or the head referee, I mean, you're running, I would say, at least 7 miles.
Yeah, good question. So referees run 6 40-meter sprints under 6 seconds, and then they have to perform a high-intensity run, which is 10 laps, and it's geared in 75-meter sprints, 25-meter walk and rest, and you do that 4 times 4, so it's 40 laps. It's a game changer for people that don't train for it. And the women have a similar test. It's no different for the women.
That's it's pretty insane, and I know for a fact like that's something that fans do not think about. Like, you've got to be in tip-top shape, and I would assume too, it's the same requirements if you want to referee games at the FIFA level.
If you look at MLS when it started back in '96 and compare the body composition of the referees then to what is now, you're going to say they look more like players than they do referees, because they're all on a fitness and nutrition program. They're given daily workouts, and it's their job.
Yeah.
So they have to perform.
Absolutely. Kyle, Jillian, guys.
Yep, good.
Well, one last thing I want to mention to you is I saw the U.S. Soccer Federation put this out that there's 41 U.S. Soccer match officials going to the 2024 FIFA International Panel. How huge is that for the Federation?
Oh, it's huge. This is the most we've ever had. Especially, United States is one of 2 countries in the world that has 7 FIFA female referees, and we have 9 female assistant referees. So we have one of the biggest squads in the world. And we saw in the Women's World Cup, it was officiated by a United States crew. So the work that PRO has done with these referees, along with them coming through the U.S. soccer system, has really paid off dividends. And it's, now we're a world leader in refereeing.
Yeah, you love to see it. I mean, every weekend I feel like we turn on the TV and there's some kind of controversy with the referees, and I cover the union. I mean, we all cover the union, and it's like people complain about the officiating here in America, and it's like, did you not watch so-and-so game this morning over in England where they're debating, he was a couple millimeters offsides, and it's so crazy when you think about just all the technology that's involved in the game. It's like, it becomes a little too much at times, but it's the day and age that we live in, and like you said, that's probably never going away. It's like we've got to accept it.
Yep.
Oh, Jillian?
No, I'm good. Good.
Awesome. Well, if people want to follow, your story, website, social media, where can people find that stuff?
You can go to referee@ussoccer.org.
That's simple enough. And if you guys want to follow the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow @FreeKickPod, wherever you get your podcast, The Free Kick. The YouTube channel, youtube.com/FreeKickPod. Kyle and Jillian.
You can find us on Twitter @TOTWAG, and we are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at The One Team We Agree On.
Awesome. And with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.